sometimes do the best of my thinking when I'm driving. Especially when you live in the city, it can just get a bit wild. So I am, for a long time I've been wanting to try and get myself a camper van, and I've also for a long time wanted to convert a van into a camper van. I've never really been in a financial situation which I could really do much of them. I know I'm in a van right now, but that's my work van. So what I had to do was get a loan, because there's no way with the amount that I earn and how much it costs to just live nowadays that I could actually save up sufficiently enough to be able to do this. So I've got a loan. I got a loan secured. I got the loan secured after having gone and looked at a camper van. I went down to look at a Nissan Elgrand. I mean, I live in Scotland, the voice probably gives that away, but I went down to England to go view one. It was an older one. It was an E50 for anyone who actually gives a hoot about that kind of stuff. So it was one of the older ones, and like alright mileage and stuff like that, drove well on that. But yeah, as soon as I got the loan through and I messaged the guy, I was like, right, cool, are you available then? It's just like, that was it, like, didn't hear anything. So I was like, okay, back to the drawing board. But I've now secured this loan, and I was like, well, I don't want this to fritter away, so I need to just act. So that brought me back to the idea of going, well, just get a van and convert it. I mean, I've got like the skills necessary to do that. It's whether I've got, oh shit. Oh yeah, oh bollocks. This is the worst. I've got like the van. Whoever bought this phone holder thing, it's ridiculous. Anyway, right. So I've decided to go have a look at vans, and I mean, they come in various shapes and sizes. And when you're converting and you're wanting a camper, right? I had to think about it in the terms of probably the majority of camping I'm going to do is in Scotland, and probably quite likely up north or maybe some of the islands. There's an ongoing problem and issue with tourists and campers using the North Coast 500, the NC 500. I've done it before, just like in a car. Well, actually, it was in a work truck. I wasn't doing it on purpose. I actually went to Orkney. Anyway, you did notice a lot of people who'd hired big ass campers driving about, and some folk, you know, the majority of folk, to be honest with you, are very respectful, but then there's the odd idiot who just goes, oh look at that really cool thing, I'm going to stop in the middle of the road, and the roads up there are tiny, so they just park to take a photo going, God, look at that, don't that look amazing, and they're creating a problem for absolutely everybody else. So anyway, that was a thought in my head. I was going, I want something small. I'll work with a small space. I prefer being outdoors anyway. So I thought, I don't need this monstrous living space. And I want the cost to be low. So I've been looking at things like the Citroen Nemo and the Peugeot Bitver, right? And again, if anybody knows what they look like, they're small, like really small. I've got an Abarth 500, and it's probably about that size-ish. I mean, it's a van, car-derived van, but the fuel economy on them is incredible. They have this capacity where the passenger seat folds all the way down flat. So if you're smart about it, you could create a little bench in the back, and then, you know, turn that into a bed. But I have also invested in a tent box, one of the ones that just sort of pop up. I think they advertise like 60 seconds and then they pop up, and I'm like, fine. I mean, the idea of just sort of sitting the roof, and so that's got enough room for two people. So I was like, perfect. So there's only 2 seats in it, so that makes perfect sense for me to do that. I am also planning to build a wee bench thing, and then all sorts of. Now, the next thing after that is, right, if your sleeping accommodation is upstairs, you will be aware that, like, probably sleeping in the winter and stuff like that's going to be a wee bit chilly, with the fact that the majority of it's a flipping tent. But to be honest, anytime I do go camping, I tend to go summer-ish times anyway. But the whole idea of this is I don't want to be restricted too much by the weather. I think the tent box will still, I mean, they still have proved to be pretty decent even when it's sort of rainy and stuff. I'm the kind of person that, like, when it comes to winter, I will still sleep with the window open. Like, if I've got covers on, I'm fine. Like, even when it's freezing. And then, like I say, I live in Scotland, so it's not warm. Even during some, well, today's different. I mean, you can probably kind of see from the out the back there. It looks amazing. This is really bumpy. I'm going down the farm road. But yes, so anyway, later on today, I'm away to Clydebank in Glasgow to look at a Peugeot Bipper. It's up for sale for 1,700 quid, which is pretty cheap. It's got an alright amount of miles on it. It's got 100% MOT pass rate. And the guy seems really sound. He's kind of like, the window, it needs a window wiper reattached. That's not really a problem. He says there's a noise when you turn the steering wheel, so I don't know, until I check it, that's either CV joints or a top mount. I think these are notorious for having issues with the top mount, so I'm going to guess it's that. But again, that's not that expensive to fix. So my thinking is, go check it out. If it drives fine and it feels fine, I'm going to go for it. So yeah, stay tuned.